Shalom family, this brother Jakim. All praises to the Most High and His Son, alright, the God of Abraham and Jacob, alright, and to the 12 tribes scattered through the whole world, alright. What we're going to be going over today is New Year's. We just had Christmas yesterday. I'm going to go into New Year's. When did we start keeping the New Year's? Alright, according to the Romans or the Greeks, okay? How come we're not keeping the so-called Chinese New Year? How come we're not keeping the so-called Persian, East Indian New Year? Alright? How come we're not keeping those? So the Bible gives you the answers, and we're going to find out what exactly we're doing, because these things are actually rituals. Let's go to First Maccabees chapter 1. Alright? First Maccabees chapter 1. And we're going to start at verse 10. And there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus surnamed Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, who had been an hostage at Rome, and he reigned in the 130th and 70th year of the kingdom of the Greeks. So the Greeks are the main topic. They are the big boys in the earth at this time. In those days went there out of Israel wicked men, who persuaded many, saying, Let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us, for since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. Because Israel, we would be able to take care of ourselves, but the atmosphere around those times, as men, you either go and you conquer kingdoms, okay? You take over cities and you bring back the spoil to your family, all right? So your lineage can go on and on and on, all right? That was, I guess, what you would call it, colonialism back then, all right? Same thing, colonialism, bam. The white man came to the Caribbean, South America, conquered the people, put them to work, and put them to work, okay, and have them give their own resources to him for free while they get paid pennies, okay? You don't have no ownership. Basically, everything that you need, the nation that is over you must provide. Okay? All right. So, right now, the Greeks, they're the main people in charge. Okay? And throughout history, every time we ended up in really hard slavery, the Most High always raised up men who knew His laws to teach the people, so the Most High would have mercy on us and deliver us from our oppressors. That's been the whole program of the Bible. All right? Modern Christianity will have you think that we're going to be saved from demons, ghosts. Okay? At the end of the day, nations of people is who God made, and God has His chosen people. We are the Israelites. All right? 12 tribes scattered. When you read Deuteronomy 28, it gives you the whole breakdown. Today, we're just going to focus on the new year. When did that change? So we started off in First Maccabees. All right, First Maccabees chapter 1. We just read verse 10. Verse 11, it says, In those days went out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many, saying, Let us go and make a covenant with the heathen. The heathen are the other nations. All right? Let's make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. So this device pleased them well. Then certain of the people were so forward wherein that they went to the king, who gave them a license to do after the ordinances of the heathen. So you had, probably one or two guys who needed, well, I wouldn't really say needed, but they were looking to make sure that, you know what, they could make money, they could live comfortable in that captivity. So they were willing to bow down however low the heathen said, whatever they, told them what they had to do, they would do. They would go out their way. The heathen say, yo, jump. An Israelite man or woman is like, yo, how high? All right? Not trusting in God and his word. But we're going to see what happens when you don't. So, verse 13. Then certain of the people were so forward wherein, certain of the people, that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen. Whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem according to the customs of the heathen. All right, so that's one of the first times you will hear that they built a place of exercise. That's where you have the Olympics. That's the origin of it, okay? And I don't know if you know, back in those days now, they would actually practice playing sports in the nude, okay? This is depicted on okay? This is depicted on their walls. You can look it up. Actually, one thing I wanted to bring out, let's see here. I just had it. Oh, I want to get you the definition of the word heathen. Because if you remember back in the days when you used to watch Sanford and Son, the one lady, her name I think Esther, she would always come in and she would say, "You heathen." Look, you would think what it means was just, a regular harsh nickname, right? That is somebody made up. But biblically, words have meanings. Let's get the meaning of heathen. This is the Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary. All right, Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary. And this is heathen. People or nation, usually used for a non-Israelite-ish people, and thus has the meaning of Gentiles, because Gentiles are all the nations outside of the Israelites. Okay, so those nations that are not Israelites, the Bible calls them heathens. All right, that was the meaning. All right, so then it says, look up nations. Let's go to nations. Let's go to nations. All right, nations usually means Gentiles, because of course they're not Israelite nations, they're just other nations. All right, usually means Gentiles, heathen. All right, and a few times referred to the Israelites, because anytime the Israelites would leave their customs and live in other lands, like guess what? They would leave and they would live in Egypt, and they would take on the Egyptian customs. Automatically you're known as a heathen. All right? There was another name, or Hellenized. All right? Fast forward up to today, Americanized. All right? Right? So heathen, when the Bible talks about heathen, it's referring to the other nations outside of Israel. The Philistines, who went up against those, the Egyptians.
While little known in modern times, one of the most important ancient deities for us to recognize and contemplate is the Roman god known as Janus. This deity is most distinguished by having two faces, thus often referred to as Janus Geminis. Sometimes both faces are bearded older men, but often he is depicted as having one bearded older face looking to the past, and a clean-shaven face of youth looking toward the future. In some depictions, he even has one face of a man and the other of a woman, signifying the unity and duality of male and female essences in each of us. In some depictions, he even contains 4 heads, looking in each cardinal direction. He was known as the god of beginnings and transitions, and thus all manner of doorways, passages, portals, entrances, gateways, and the elements of change, movement, and time. It was essential to honor Janus at the start of every endeavor, from calendar dates to spring plantings, military actions, marriages, and each new dawn. He was the first god to be invoked before all others to help during all manner of rituals, rites, and prayers. He was the god of liminal spaces, guardian of transitions from youth to adulthood, barbarity to civilization, countryside to city, outer space to inner space. From Janus is where we get the word January, for it became the first month of the calendar. Janus was highly honored on New Year's Day, but also at the beginning of each day, each month, and several other special dates throughout the year. Our modern concept of the old man of the past year and the new baby of the coming year likely comes from Janus's 2 faces. The word janitor also comes from Janus, for he was the custodian of all entrances and thresholds. Janitor was originally a term used for a doorman or porter, and later adopted to include many other services. There are also certain rites and rituals that were performed with Janus in order to cleanse soldiers when they returned home from battle to reintegrate them into society. The Emperor Numa Pompilius, ruler from 715 to 673 BCE, built a giant temple in Rome called the Janus Geminis, with large archways that served as a passageway and was used ritually. In times of peace, the doors were closed to keep war contained within, and in times of war, it was open to welcome its soldiers back home. The Roman Empire was usually at war, and thus the doors were rarely ever closed other than during 43 of Numa's peaceful reign and during a ban on the ancient rites after 390 CE. Janus is very much associated with money, coins, and financial enterprises. The first coin of the Roman pound liberal series bears the 2 faces of Janus, and thus, in modern times, he is mostly known for the Janus coins. 2 other important symbols for Janus are the rod, a staff or scepter, and keys. The keys were not only symbols for unlocking doors, as he was the god of passages, but to unlock the secrets of the universal mysteries. He was considered the guardian of the mysteries, and it was through him that one was initiated into the various mystery cults at the time. One key was gold for the major mysteries, the other silver for the lesser mysteries. The origin of Janus likely comes from him being the first king of the Latium, before Roman, who perhaps was a very wise ruler, who, like many other historical figures, was transformed into a deity after his death. It was possibly under King Janus that coins were first produced, and thus the monetary connection. 2-faced deities exist in many other cultures around the world.
So, go to Maccabees, First Maccabees, and First Maccabees, chapter 1 again, and jump to verse 20 again. And after that, Antiochus had smitten Egypt. He returned again in the 143rd year, and went up against Israel and Jerusalem with a great multitude, and entered proudly into the sanctuary, and took away the golden altar, and the candlesticks of light, and all the vessels thereof, and the table of the showbread, and the pouring vessels, and the veils, and the censers of gold, and the veils, and the crowns, and the golden ornaments that were before the temple, all which he pulled off. He took also the silver and gold, and every precious vessel. Also he took the hidden treasures which he found. And when he had taken all away, he went into his own land, having made a great massacre and spoken very proudly. Therefore there was great mourning in Israel, in every place where they were. So that the princes and the elders mourned, the virgins and the young men were made feeble, and the beauty of the woman was changed. Every bridegroom took up lamentation, and and she that sat in the marriage chamber was in heaviness. The land also was moved for the inhabitants thereof, and all the house of Jacob was covered with confusion. Jump to 41. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom. So this is what we're coming up onto, right? This is when everything about to change. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people, and everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed to the commandment of the king. Yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion, and sacrificed unto idols, and profaned the Sabbath. This is when it's happening. Alright, King Antiochus. For the king had sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and to the cities of Judah, that they should follow the strange laws of the land. So these new laws and things were strange to us Israelites. Alright? And forbid burnt offering. They didn't allow us to give burnt offering and sacrifice and drink offerings, because part of the offerings we had drink offerings also in the temple, and that they should profane the Sabbath and festival days, and pollute the sanctuary and holy people, set up altars and groves and chapels of idols, and sacrifice swine's flesh. And unclean beasts, that they should also leave their children uncircumcised. Make sure you get the kids circumcised, and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation, to the end they might forget the law and change all the ordinances. As we know now, we did forget. All right. Fast forward up until today, the churches don't teach the laws. All right. They teach the 10 Commandments, but they don't go down the list of having a beard, what to eat, what not to eat, the type of clothes, how to dress. To the end, they might forget the law and change all the ordinances. And whosoever would not do according to the commandment of the king, he said he should die. So you got that going on. Let's jump to 2 Maccabees 4. 2 Maccabees 4, start at verse 13. Now such was the height of Greek fashions and increase of heathenish manners through the exceeding profaneness of Jason, that ungodly wretch, and no high priest, that the priests had no courage to serve any more at the altar, but despising the temple and neglecting the sacrifice, hasten to be partakers of the unlawful allowances in the place of exercise, after the game of discus, called them forth, not setting by the honors of their fathers. Basically, we didn't even like doing the Israelites' customs no more. We had more fun keeping the Greek customs. All right. So verse 15 is saying, not setting by the honors of their fathers, but liking the glory of the Grecians best of all. start coming back to the laws, to our customs. Just start doing, something. Just start. Stop eating pork. Start growing your beard. Wear your fringes. Little things like that. I'm going to jump over to chapter 6 and verse 1. Not long after this, the king sent an old man of Athens to compel the Jews to depart from the laws of their father. Alright? And not to live after the laws of God. So, one of the laws is to observe the month of Abib. The Greeks were like, nah, everybody know we gotta be one. Does that sound familiar? Alright? So the king, he already sent a letter out telling everybody, guess what, look, the Greeks, we're in charge. You're seen as defeat nations. It would be in your best interest to align yourself with us and our customs. Whatever we say that's right, that's what's right. Whatever we say that's wrong, that's what's wrong. That's what's going on right now in the world, up until today. So chapter 6 and verse 1. Not long after this, the king sent an old man of Athens to compel the Jews to depart from the laws of their fathers, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and not to live after the laws of God, because that's what the Israelites would follow. We never followed religion, we followed God's laws. Okay? And to pollute also the temple in Jerusalem, and to call it the temple of Jupiter, Olympus. Oh my God. To pollute also the temple in Jerusalem, and to call it the temple of Jupiter, Olympus. So no longer was it known as the holy place of Abraham, the God of Abraham and Isaac, okay, the God of the Israelites. No, they're calling it the temple of Jupiter. And to call it the temple of Jupiter, Olympus. And that in Gerizim of Jupiter, the defender of strangers, as they did desire that dwelt in the place. The coming in of this mischief was sore and grievous to the people. For the temple was filled with riot and reveling by the Gentiles, who dallied with harlots and had to do with women within the circuit of the holy place, and besides that brought in things that were not lawful. The altar also was filled with profane things, which the law forbid. Neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days, or ancient feasts, or to profess himself at all to be a Jew. That was like, you couldn't even say that you are Israelite. You couldn't even say that you're a Jew. What that means is that you can't even say that you are an American. You can't even say that you are somebody from Cuba, Jamaican. All right? Imagine them putting a law saying that you can't say who you are. Because at this point, they know nationality mattered. It always mattered. All right? Who you are in this world. The reason why it's hidden from you, because we lost the war. All right? We're going to get that. We lost everything. We lost our whole heritage. All right? So it says, neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days or ancient feasts, or to profess himself at all to be a Jew. And in the day of the king's birthday, every month, because back then the kings, they would celebrate their birthday every month. All right? And in the day of the king's birth, every month, they were brought by bitter constraints to eat of the sacrifice, pork. And when the feast of Bacchus was kept, That's what we know today as Bacchanal in the island. All right. Was kept. The Jews were compelled to go in procession to Bacchus carrying ivy. So the procession is just like what you would see in the kind of a parade. All right. They would have harlots. They would have people, winding up. They would be going on the street. There would be a procession, music playing, and they would carry ivy. All right. And this is what they would take to honor the gods, whether it be Bacchus or Jupiter. All right. They would have to honor these gods by bringing things to the statue. All right. Moreover, they went out a decree to the neighboring cities of the heathen by the suggestion of Ptolemy against the Jews that they should observe the same fashion. So he already know all the other nations, they were just going to fall in line. But it was something particular that these kings always made sure, hey, make sure them Israelites, they make sure they're doing this, make sure they're doing that, make sure they're following Bacchus, make sure they living promiscuously, all right? Make sure that they're not honoring their God, because if they honor their God is going to defend them, and we're not going to be able to oppress them that easy, all right? That's the strategy. Moreover, there went out a decree to the neighboring cities of the heathen by the suggestion of Ptolemy against the Jews that they should observe the same fashions and partake of their sacrifices, and whoso would not conform themselves to the manners of the Gentiles should be put to death. Then might a man have seen the present misery. So we were forced to keep their customs, their laws, all right? Observing the new year when they say it, all right? Making sure that, guess what? Everyone is one people, okay? So the Bible is always about the Israelites separating ourselves from the other nations, okay? So we can honor our God. Jeremiah 2:11. Hath the nation changed their gods, which are yet no gods? So it's asking the question, have the nations changed their gods? No. The so-called Moabites, they've been worshiping Buddha for centuries. The so-called Persians, the East Indian, they've been worshiping the god, the elephant god, for centuries. All right. You go to the so-called Greeks. They have Zeus, Onan, and who else they say they had? Janus, Cupid. All right. And these guys is who they've been honoring for years. So the Bible is asking the question, hath the nation changed their gods? No, they haven't changed their gods, which are yet no gods. But my people have changed their glory for that which doth not profit. Be astonished, O ye heavens, at this, and be horribly afraid. Be ye very desolate, saith the Lord. For my people have committed two evils. They have forsaken me, the fountain of living waters, and hewed them out cisterns, broken cisterns that cannot hold no water. The cisterns are your religions, all right? Whether it be Rastafarianism, worshiping Selassie, Mormonism, worshiping the so-called white man Jesus, Egyptology, worshiping Horus, Krishna, and the list goes on and on, all right? So we as Israelites, you Black Latinos and Native Americans who fit the curses in Deuteronomy 28, we must come back to the custom. All right, and of course, you're not going to learn everything overnight, in 30 minutes. But now you start researching, just like you're going to school. Bam, you have your book, your paper, your pen. You start making notes, and guess what? You start practicing your culture. We are the Israelites. That's the secret. You know what I mean? It's wonderful. All right, so we must put in the work so we could see the kingdom and the Most High have mercy on us in this captivity. All right. So, so I just read, had a nation changed their gods, which are yet no gods, but my people have changed their glory for that which doth not profit. Go to Daniel chapter 7. Daniel chapter 7. Daniel chapter 7, I'm going to start at verse 24. And the 10 horns, out of this kingdom were 10 kings that shall rise, and another shall rise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings, and he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws. And they shall be given into his hands until a time and times and a dividing of times. But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion, to consume and to destroy it unto the end. And the dominion and the kingdom and the dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominions shall serve and obey him. All right? So, what this is showing you, the kingdom that basically has been ruling has been the the Edomite kingdom, all right, ever since the Renaissance, all right. They changed time and laws. You got daylight saving time, where they move back the clock. They say, you know what? A day starts at midnight, when the Most High says a day starts from sundown to sundown. Is Daniel chapter 7 and verse 24 and 25. All right, verse 25 it says, and he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hands until a time and times and a dividing of times. All right, so just know things are not how it's supposed to be. All right, things have been changed. Let's see who is running the world. Let's go to let me see, Job 9 and 24. Because even though, you know, these nations say that they're a Christian nation, they don't follow the Bible. They've been making up their own righteousness. All right? Job 9 and 24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? All right? So this is showing you the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? All right? So it's not hard to know who has the power. Who has the power? Has control of nuclear weapons, decide what vaccines go out in the world, decides who go to space, decides who get food and who basically could go into what countries. All right, if you do not do what the ruling nations say, they put embargoes and basically make things hard for you economically around the world. All right, let's go to Titus 1 and 14. Titus 1 and 14. All right. Because why are we celebrating New Year's in winter? All right. Why? Let's go to Titus chapter 1 and verse 14. Not giving heed to Jewish fables and commandments of men that turn from the truth. All right? Not giving heed to Jewish fables, all right, and commandments of men that turn from the truth. So we as Israelites are instructed not to follow Jewish fables. Let's go to Colossians 2 and 8. All right, Colossians chapter 2 and verse 8. Beware. So it's telling you, beware, that's a warning. Beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit, after the tradition of men, after the rudiments of the world, and not after Christ. So throughout centuries, every time the Israelites were in captivity, the Most High knew that after a while we've been around them for very long, we would start taking on the customs of these nations, serving their God the way that they serve their God. And God is a jealous God. So guess what? Eventually, He showed us the way so we could start serving Him. All right? Let's get the truth. Let's get the truth. Let's see what the truth is. Because that came up a few times. Let's go to Psalms 119. And 142. All right. Psalms 119 and 142. Remember, words have meaning, especially in the Bible. Thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is the truth. So it says, thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is the truth. So what's the truth? The laws. Jump down to verse 151. Thou art near, O Lord, and all thy commandments are truth. So that's what the truth is. People running around talking about, look, this is the truth, that is the truth. If the truth not lining up with the Bible, what the Bible say, that's not the truth. All right? So you got to get it right. You got to get it right. All right. Let me watch this. All right. Go to Psalms 148, because I mentioned something earlier. Well, in Daniel, it was talking about the saints. Go to Psalms 148 and verse 14. Okay? Why am I bringing that up? Let me go back to Daniel. All right? All right. So in Daniel, that's when I was showing you that things have been changed. Now we celebrate January 1st. Everybody know that that's the new year. Daniel, which is a prophet in the Bible, prophesies about nations, kingdoms, okay, not ghosts, okay? And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, okay? So that's how you know who we're talking about, the saints, all right? The saints of the Most High. And think to change times and laws, And they shall be given into his hands until a time and times and a dividing of times. So the Bible is talking about the saints. Who are the saints? Let's go to Psalms 148 and verse 14. He exalted the horn of his people, the praise of all his saints, the praise of all his saints, even of the children of Israel, a people near unto him. Praise ye the Lord. So that's who the saints are. Anybody cannot just be a saint. You just can't look cute and you are a saint. You have to be of Israelite blood. Alright? So I want to touch those two things. Let's go to Jeremiah 16 and verse 19. Jeremiah 16 and verse 19. Remember to keep the thought. We're talking about New Year's. How come we're not keeping the New Year's according to the Bible? Alright? Why? Why is everything changed? Alright? So we're going to go to Jeremiah 16 and verse 19. Alright. So it says, O Lord, my strength and my fortress and my refuge in the day of affliction. The Gentiles shall come unto thee from the ends of the earth. So one of these days the Gentiles, the other nations, they're going to come from the end of the earth. The Gentiles shall come unto thee from the ends of the earth, and shall say, surely our fathers have inherited lies, vanity, and things wherein there is no profit. Because throughout all these nations, they have names of gods that they believe has been given them wealth. All right. They believe in their idols. They believe in their statues. All right. And at the end of the day, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is the true and living God. What we're showing is that there's always a separation. All right. And the heathen is now telling us, look, this is a future prophecy. If you don't know, certain men in the Bible are prophets, and prophets prophesy future events. So this is one of the future events. The so-called nations have not said this yet, but one of these days they're going to say, you know what? Man, we have inherited lives, man. And we're going to be like, yeah. So, Jeremiah 16 and 19. O Lord, my strength and my fortress, and my refuge in the day of affliction. The Gentiles shall come unto thee from the ends of the earth, and shall say, surely our fathers have inherited lies, vanity, and things wherein there is no profit. Alright? Shall a man make gods unto himself, and they are no gods? Therefore, behold, I will this once cause them to know. I will cause them to know mine hand and my might, and they shall know that my name is the Lord. Go to Wisdom of Solomon. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14 and verse 16. Thus, in the process of time, an ungodly custom grown strong was kept as a law. Let me read that again. Thus, in process of time, an ungodly custom grown strong was kept as a law, and graven images were worshipped by the commandments of kings. The Deuteronomy chapter 16, this is one of the commandments for us Israelites by our God. Observe the month of Abib, and keep the Passover unto the Lord thy God For in the month of Abib, the Lord thy God brought thee forth out of Egypt.